Laura. Oh, it's flowing, huh? Very good. Thank you for the flow. Okay, so let's see here now. We have the page.
Prabhuji from Prabhupada encouraged him.
Thank you. I thank you for keeping the page. I thank you all for coming here. This is Nectar. We're going to share. Thank you so much. So, Prabhupada encouraged him after so many recent conversations and discussions on communism. Let me move this here. It seemed like Krishna responding to Srila Prabhupada's desire to spread Krishna consciousness in the communist countries. If there is possibility to preach amongst the communists, he wrote, you must do it immediately. The intelligent communist people will very easily understand our philosophy. We can convince them on the basis of Sama Sarveshu Bhuteshu. A Krishna conscious person is equally disposed to every living entity. It's a Bhagavad Gita 1854. Prabhupada explained that communism is no better than capitalism because both exploit the animals and other living beings. He told Dwarkakesh he should make the present imperfect idea of communism perfect by following the description of perfect communism given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is stated that you feel for the poor animals as well as the human beings. Srimad Bhagavatam is coming out of Hungary. Once you enter, if you can preach, what is the need of coming out? Because he wrote before that, I can go in, but I don't know if I can come out. He was in doubt of that. Mahamsa, I think that's what it is. Mahamsa Swami wrote, he's having difficulty persuading the two sisters in Nellore to relax the conditions on the deed gift of land. Prabhupada responded, we're not at all interested to be dictated by them. He told him that because we have already installed the foundation stone, we do not wish to go back. To this end, he stated that his willingness to even to purchase the land and still allow the two ladies to carry on living in one portion of the building as devotees. He was adamant, though, that we shall not concede to any special conditions. Prabhupada was smart. Next.
Prabhuji, I'll read. In the early evening, just on dusk, a few of the senior devotees and myself were sitting with Prabhupada in his room, conversing from a distance and gradually drawing nearer. We heard the loud trumpeting of a conch shell accompanied by bell ringing and the chanting of mantras. Bhavananda Maharaj laughed and told Prabhupada it was Anantarama Sastri, an Indian devotee in his mid-20s, who joined us last year with three other Sastris. Unfortunately, the other left, but he has stayed on. As his name implies, he is very knowledgeable in the scriptures and well versed in the performance of various type of puja. He can also quote practically any Sanskrit verse from memory. Bhavananda explained that each evening, as the sun goes down, he tours the building floor by floor with a bell, conch, and large clay incense burner, chanting various mantras to keep away ghosts and other subtle beings. The sound grew louder, and Prabhupada smiled in welcome as Shastri entered his room in a cloud of frankincense, the reverberations of the conch temporarily drowning out our conversation. It was an impressive ritual, made more so by Shastri's ability to both blow air through his mouth and suck it through his nose at the same time, thus keeping the conch blowing uninterruptedly for several minutes. He walked around both rooms, waving a bamboo fan over his clay bowl to disperse the fragrant smoke. It also acted as an effective mosquito repellent. After a couple of minutes, he respectfully backed out the door and continued at his nightly round. The puja triggered Prabhupada's remembrance of his time in Allahabad in 1945. He told us he was paying only 200 rupees for a whole house then. But the place was famous as ghostly a haunted house. Nobody would rent it, but Prabhupada took it. I don't care for ghosts, he said smiling. Actually, there was a ghost, and all the servants they were met, but I was chanting. Later, Madhu Madhudvisa Swami and I sat with Prabhupada as he talked about how the British knew the art of ruling. By giving Indians control as supervisors, they were able to rule a large populous continent with only a few thousand men. In general, the Indian appreciated them. But after innocent people were shot and anti-British rally in Amritsar, Gandhi's movement was able to gain momentum, and the British lost their respectability. Speaking about government in general, Prabhupada said that even bad or demonic governments are allowed by Krishna in order to punish people for sinful activity. He explained that Krishna is behind everything. He emphasizes this point by playing back to us on his dictaphone some of his latest translation work from the seventh canto, in which he was making the same point. Madhur Visa also asked a few managerial questions regarding ISKCON Fiji. Leonji Punja, who was an instrumental in establishing ISKCON there, is chanting the Mahamantra and following the regulative principles. He's channelizing memory from his supermarket and other shops into building a Krishna temple. But meanwhile, he is still selling meat and liquor. In the stores, Madhu Visa expressed uncertainty about whether to tell him to cease such sales or not. Srila Prabhupada said that he should be allowed to continue and not forced to give it up. He quoted Bhagavad Gita 1848: every endeavor is covered by some sort of fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up work which is born of his nature, O son of Kunti, even if such work is full of fault. Prabhupada expressed confidence that if he is chanting Hare Krishna, this thing will soon be properly adjusted. Next one, please raise your hand.
Interesting quotation.
January
Uh,
19th,
yes.
1976, Jayapataka Maharaj has been busy initiating the work on the new building for the northern boundary. As Prabhupada walked down the road to nearby Hula Ghat, Jayapataka report that they could get up 2,50,000 bricks within a month, so the work on the new building is to begin immediately. Arriving at the Ghata, Srila Prabhupada made a quick inspection of a newly acquired boat. He went on board and carefully inspected the interior. As Sudama Maharaj explained the setup, Prabhupada was pleased and agreed to install the deities of Shri Shri Gauranitai in few days time when preparations are complete. From there, he visited the Gosala where he inspected the cows and the calves. People Ali, a devotee from Mexico, is nicely managing everything. Crossing the fields to return to temple, Prabhupada questioned Jayapataka Maharaj how each field is being utilized. Stressing that every bit of land must be used, they discussed purchasing new land. Prabhupada told him that about 1700 rupees per bigha, one third acre, is a reasonable price, not the 4 or 5,000 that some farmers are demanding. For breakfast, Prabhupada again had some of the season's first produce, some sugarcane juice from our own fields. He is very happy to see our men using the land to grow foodstuff. The dal we drink daily is homegrown, and the chapatis are made from our own wheat. During the day, Maharaj came in to ask for advice about how to deal with the married couples and children in the ashrama. The girls especially have become a problem because in the village they are generally married by the time they reach puberty. But in our ashrama, there are not enough young devotee men available. Prabhupada said that the young girls in Mayapur can be married to local men and that we'll give a dowry of 500 rupees. These men can be invited to live with us, but a brahmachari could be kept single. Prabhupada agreed with Bhavananda that finding out suitable husband for the single woman is a problem throughout our ISKCON society. We are training boys to remain celibate brahmacharis since women in Kali Yuga from majority of the population who then will marry them. Prabhupada suggested that a man could have more than one wife. He laughed. The idea is he is already spoiled, so he may as well take more. However, he feels that the public reaction would not be good, so it is doubtful whether this idea can ever be implemented. Next one, Anushka Mata.
As evening arti went on downstairs, Prabhupada talked in his room with his godbrother Damodar Maharaj, Harikesha, and a few other visitors about the difficulties of preaching. Damodar Maharaj is a rather simple person, younger than Prabhupada's 80 years. He is reported to spend his time flitting from one Gaudiya Math to another without any particular preaching goal. He has a reputation for indulging in gossip and is apparently not taken very seriously by his godbrothers. But Srila Prabhupada treats him with respect. Speaking sometimes in Bengali and sometimes English, they discussed how there are so many envious men who want to impede the spread of Krishna consciousness. It is a fact that even Prabhupada's own godbrothers display jealousy at his apparent sudden success. Especially here in Mayapur, there have been many instances of obstacles being created to deliberately hinder the development of Sri Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Prabhupada showed no surprise, only perhaps some disappointment. Taking a philosophical perspective, he told us that the whole material world is full of jealousy, even in the higher planetary systems. For that reason, Lord Chaitanya has said one must be very humble. Jealousy will always be present, so one should learn to tolerate. He said that it is the best way to deal with it. Damodar Maharaj recalled that even their spiritual master, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, was also criticized. So if they can talk against Prabhupada, then what to speak of me? Prabhupada told him, I am nothing to Prabhupada. Damodar Maharaj tried to see the bright side. That will happen to a preacher. Those who are really preaching, there will be something negative, something positive. There should be light and darkness. Both things should be there. Otherwise, how can we differentiate good from bad? There should be anti-party. Otherwise, how can we realize your glories? Maybe one day they will realize it. Srila Prabhupada was humble, but frank. Whether they realize it or not does not matter to me. Whatever my mission, I will continue. I am not going to wait for their realization. I shall continue to serve my Guru there. I mean to say, many of them have already realized it, Damodar Maharaj hastened to add. Those who have realized, they have admitted that it is a noble service, it is a pleasure to us. It is clearly written in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Shakti Bina Nahe Tara Pravartana. Even if they have no common sense, what can be done? Prabhupada said. Damodar Maharaj agreed. We have to admit this, that Krishna Shakti is there. Prabhupada shrugged. This is something new in the history of the world, and still they are jealous. What can you do? They are just finding faults. In Vrindavan, Narsiha Vallabh Goswami came to me. He said, so many people are jealous about you. I said, first of all, you create something like this, then you become jealous. They do not have that power. Damodar Maharaj said that he had inquired from his godbrothers and their feelings were changing. They were becoming more favorable. Prabhupada responded evenly. Whether they change their feelings or not does not matter to me. Sometimes I was amazed at their feelings. Prabhupada felt the problems were due to a lack of understanding of proper Vaishnava dealings. What bothers me is their dictating mood. Why they should dictate? First of all, let them become like me. Equality brings friendship. Whoever is older, he will dictate, and whoever is younger, he will respect the superior. This is the rule. Neither they are equal nor senior, then why they should dictate? Who is superior, he will dictate, and who is equal, he should live like friend, and who is junior, they should follow and obey. This is the Vaishnav rule. Those who are neither equal nor higher, now they can dictate. That is a mistake. Either first of all become higher than him, then dictate, or become equal with him, then you suggest. You are lower and you want to dictate? What is this nonsense? One of the visitors explained that he had met a local political official who was suspicious and critical of our society. The guest explained how he had tried to defend ISKCON. Those who are born in luxury and comforts have left everything for the holy name. And Prabhupada is the person who had praised this holy name in the Western world and convinced them about spiritual life. It is really a wonderful service. There is nothing to know and something to realize from this wonderful service. Unfortunately, he said, the politician did not listen. In truth, there are many who ascribe Prabhupada's success in bringing so many Westerners to India as nothing more than a CIA plot. The man's observation pleased Prabhupada. It is a fact. All these boys and girls have come all the way from America. I did not bribe them to take up to Krishna consciousness and to come here. They have come on their own. People call us CIA. Being a devotee by giving up all intoxication, giving up all kinds of desires and smoking, by dancing and chanting in the street, yet they will have the investigation of CIA. What a less common sense these people have. They have not got any common sense. When the gurus left, Prabhupada relaxed in his room, reminiscing with Madhudvasa Maharaj and me about the years before he came to the West, telling us something of the sequence of the major events of his preaching life. 1950, left home. 1952, lived in Jhansi. 1955, went to Mathura, gave his deity of Lord Chaitanya to Keshav Maharaj's temple in Mathura. 1956, moved to Vrindavan. 1958, wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. 1959, took sannyas. 1960, started Srimad Bhagavatam translation. 1962, finished and published Part 1 Bhagavatam, first canto. 1963, finished and published Part 2 Bhagavatam first canto. 1964, finished and published Part 3 Bhagavatam first canto. 1965, left Calcutta for USA. These evening conversations are always sublime. Just being able to sit with Srila Prabhupada and hear him speak is so remarkably satisfying, especially when he recalls his young childhood experiences, the British rule in India, and his efforts to spread Krishna consciousness. As it often does, the electricity went off and we lit the oil lamps, adding to the intimacy of the atmosphere. Sitting in the soft glow of the lanterns, his mood was gentle and at ease, as if he was with the best of friends. At such times, in such an air of informality, we try not to become so familiar, lest we forget our position. Nevertheless, Prabhupada makes himself completely accessible, a genuine helper and guide in our struggle for transcendental life. I am realizing more and more that association with a pure devotee is really the essence of spiritual life.
Okay, Mataji, next one, Priyanka Mata.
Hare Krishna. January 20th, 1976, Prabhupada took his morning walk in the fields to the east of the building, examining the proposed site of the big future temple. Saurabha, our ISKCON architect, is drawing up plans for a structure at least 350 feet high. Prabhupada's concern for the future development of his Gurukul system is growing as more correspondence comes in from the West. The latest arrival from Jayatirtha explaining the difficulties they are facing in complying with government regulations in the last. Several proposals for the relocation of the school have been touted, but no definite decision has been made. Srila Prabhupada wrote him a long letter thoroughly outlining his desires for educating the society's children. He condemned modern education system, saying they meted the greatest violence upon the young by training them as sense gratifiers. He said that the uh, Karmi system was producing cats and dogs who feel quite at home in a society of sense gratification. Therefore, they could not appreciate the Gurukula system based on Vairagya Vidya, knowledge based on renunciation. He told they will never accept that one must undergo austerities to break the influence of the modes of material nature upon the living entity in order that he may experience the transcendental bliss on the platform of pure goodness. Therefore, they see our school as a threat and a cruel punishment of the children. Complying with the authorities' request would mean a gradual watering down of our standards, he said, until it becomes unrecognizable and useless. His solution was to send the young boys to the newly developing Vrindavan Gurukul. To live in Vrindavan and to grow up there is a great fortune, is the greatest fortune. To spend even one fortnight in Mathura Mandala guarantees liberation. He described Krishna Balram Mandir as the finest in the world. He said that by living there, the boys will be able to follow all the practices of brahmachari life and become very blissful. There are many other advantages also. That fact that living in India is much cheaper would ease the burden on the parents. Therefore, in all ways, it is obvious that the best place to have this Gurukul is in Vrindavan. This should be done before the US government starts to cause a disturbance which will harm us, and before we have to waste large sum of money on a risky endeavor which may turn out to be a complete failure. In the evening, His Divine Grace told us more about his life before establishing ISKCON. He explained that when he began publishing Back to Godhead, many people appreciated it, including his god brother Bon Maharaj and others. One librarian friend asked him, "Why not write books? Paper is thrown away, but a book is kept." So in 1958, he wrote Easy Journey to Other Planets. Then in 1960, he began the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, publishing the first part in 1962. In 1963 came part 2, and by the end of 1964, part 3. Each printing was 1,100 copies. The cost donated by a wealthy business magnate. In 1968, he came to Mayapur to pay respect to his departed Guru Maharaj. The next day, he returned to Kolkata and sailed for the USA. It took 27 days via the Suez Canal and the states of Gib- Gibraltar. Gibraltar. For 2 days, a sea Prabhupada had severe chest pain and thought he might die at any time. Later in New York, he became ill with the same complaint, and doctor told him that it was a heart attack. He understood this was the same as the trouble abroad ship, but at the time he did not know what it was. He said that in New York, the chanting of devotees had saved him. Before leaving India, the American embassy in Delhi had bought 19 copies of each volume of his Srimad Bhagavatam and gave a standing order for all the future volumes. They then sent them to different universities and libraries in America. After Prabhupada arrived in America, he went to library and ordered his books, but they already had them. Then he went to University of Philadelphia, and it also had obtained them. One teacher said,
Okay, now hold on. Next one.
Hare Krishna. One teacher paid Prabhupada's fare from Butler, Pennsylvania, to the main bus terminal in the Philadelphia. Prabhupada went from there to New York, where he rented a small room. At the time, he had an idea to get a small temple, so he wrote to a rich man in Bombay asking him for money. The man agreed, but the government disallowed it. Although Prabhupada got special permission to collect funds from resident Indians, then he went to the Salvation Army for help, asking for help, but they refused. he wrote to his godbrother Tirtha Maharaja asking for men and mridanga drums, but he also refused to help. Prabhupada had originally asked him for funds for going to the West and publishing his books, but Tirtha refused. Instead, he had indirectly hinted that Prabhupada should go as his representative. In this way, Tirtha Maharaja would get the credit if the mission was successful. I understood his mind, Prabhupada told us, and carefully avoided him after that. While on board the ship, the captain's wife, who was a palmist, told Prabhupada that if he survived his 17th year, uh, he would live to be 100 years old. Seeing us smile at this, he added, "So, somehow or other, the heart attacks were not fatal. So now let us see." Madhudvesa Swami said that he had told Mr. Punja in Fiji that Prabhupada was getting old and couldn't travel there. Travel there. Mr. Punja, who had heard about the prediction, replied, "Oh, don't worry. Prabhupada will live to be 100." Madhudveshwa asked him how he knew. He said that he had given Prabhupada's birth details and signature, as well as a recording of his voice, to a fortune teller in Fiji, who predicted Prabhupada would live to be 100. So let us see. Srila Prabhupada repeated with a non-committal grin. He recalled going to a very prominent astrologer in Calcutta when he was a grihastha and asked what his fortune would be. The man laughed and said only, "Oh, this will be your last birth here." Prabhupada also talked about the position of women in the Indian society. Formerly, a respectable woman would not be seen in public, but remained secluded, traveling only in the sedan chairs and closed carriages. Krishna's wives played tennis on the roofs of the palaces, and the Advaitacharya's wife Sita Devi traveled in a wheelchair. Prabhupada said that his own mother and his wife did the same. Only prostitutes would be seen publicly. Formerly, a woman's status could be understood simply by her dress. A married woman kept her head covered. An unmarried woman, under her father's protection, had an uncovered head. A widow wore a white sari with no border, and the prostitute parted her hair on the side, not in the middle. In this way, Vedic society was so nicely arranged that one could easily understand another's status. Srila Prabhupada seems to know practically everything, no matter how seemingly he perspective. He is like a cornucopia of knowledge, overflowing with truth and wisdom. The warmth and the friendliness of his personality make each exchange a completely fulfilling experience. We are indeed extremely fortunate to have his association. Next one.
Okay, Akash Prabhu, you want to?
Yes.
Okay.
As we walk through this morning, Prabhupada discussed. मेरा आवाज आ रहा है क्या आप सबको?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So as we walk this morning, Prabhupada discussed plan for the new temples and the proposed exhibition. It's to house it will be culture center as well as temple. His idea to have display depicting various level of material existence. The exhibition is to begin on the lower levels by depicting hellish religions and lower planetary system. As the visitors ascend the interior of the dome escalator, various levels of material existence will be revealed, gradually rising to abodes of the demigods, then Satyaloka and the Vaikuntha planets. At the very top will be dazzling display of Krishna on transcendental planet Goloka Vrindavana. Tamal Krishna Maharaj suggested that by charging a rupee per person for escalator rides alone, most of the maintenance cost could be covered. Prabhupada also heard some amusing stories to Tamal Krishna and Sudama Maharaj. They explain that when new devotees joined to Radha Damodara TSKP, they often donated all their belongings, sometimes to the great charging of their friends or relatives. One young man, a musician, was convinced to join. He returned to his apartment just as the members of his band were departing for an engagement. Since the equipment was his, he took everything, sold it, and donated the proceeds for preaching words needles to say his friends were quite unhappy at the unexpected dissolution of their groups. But as Tamal Krishna pointed out, it was loss of equipment. There upset them, not the loss of their friend.
Ah,
After greeting the what
carry on.
happened, Prabhuji?
No, amazing. The story.
Thank you.
Carry on.
Deities and Guru Puja, Prabhupada went straight up to his room without giving a class. In mid-morning, Jayapataka Swami brought in a life member who had come for the day from Calcutta to visit Mayapur and meet Prabhupada. Prabhupada welcomed him and asked what his business was. The man told him he owned a glass manufacturing factory. When Prabhupada asked what the glass was made from, he replied, from silicon, Swamiji, from sand. And who owns the sand? Prabhupada asked. Bhagwan, God on the sand. Oh, you are stealing from Bhagwan? Prabhupada challenged. The man laughed. He was slightly embarrassed but obviously appreciated Srila Prabhupada was swift expose and lesson in proprietorship. He thought for a minute, and then, as if to offset the implied criticism, ventured that he gave a lot in charity. Prabhupada got him a second time. Oh, then you are just a little thief, he said teasingly. Everyone laughed, and the man was happy to be further enlightened as to his real position and subordinate to God. Srila Prabhupada's point was that no one can manufacture anything. We are simply taking ingredients supplied by God, are transforming them into another form, yet we think ourselves as owners. This is the mistake of the materialists. Srila Prabhupada explained that real honesty is used to everything is the service of Krishna. Prabhupada gave Madh- Madhavida Madhavija Maharaj a sign, later sending him to New York as the head host temple president until the Mayapur GBC meeting. After their conversation in Calcutta about the difficulties and New York, the need for a strong leader and Prabhupada's suggestion, the Madhavija take it up. Madhavija Maharaj told Prabhupada he was willing to get there. Rapunuga Prabhu, the current GBC for New York will offer Madhavi's present position in Australia, and Madhavi's will take over affairs on America East Coast. No devotees and Australia have yet been informed that he is going to New York. There was some discussion about other possible charges of zones of GBC. Personal Srila Prabhupada said that the GBC members themselves should hold discussion about exchanging zones and then propose a formal resolution at the meeting. On the whole, he thought it good ideas for GBC men to swap zones every 3 or 4 years. He told us that a change will refreshing and encourage detachment. It would discourage the tendency of the leaders to think of a particular area as their own zones.
Okay, Prabhuji, next. Shavik Prabhu.
Okay.
Okay,
Anyone
next.
next?
Later in the evening, together with Ramakrishna Goswami, Srila Prabhupada discussed the position of women in our society. Recently, this has become somewhat of a conten- continuous issue in America, provoking conflict between the Grihasthas and the celibate sannyasis and brahmacharis. Ramakrishna has found himself at the center of the dispute because, along with Vishnu Swami, he is in charge of the Radha Damodar SKP. Their bus parties, composed almost entirely of brahmacharis and sannyasis, regularly visit many temples around America. The temples, in contrast, are generally run by married men. Ramakrishna's idea is to arrange that no women live in the ISKCON temples. He feels their presence creates distraction for those pursuing a renounced way of life. The essence of Lord Chaitanya's movement. He feels that many temples are not serious about sustaining the standards of Vairagya and are becoming mere extensions of household affairs, much to the detriment of the welfare of the brahmacharis, who are the real backbone of the movement. Prabhupada overcome all his arguments. Although sympathetic to Tamala's concerns, he said that it is neither desirable nor possible to keep women from coming to join us, nor would it be practical to house them separately. His conclusion is that if we simply preach, then all difficulties will be resolved naturally in due course of time. Alakmata. Yeah. In the evening, Saurabha Prabhu showed Prabhupada the preliminary plans for the new temple. He estimates the cost will be at least 80 crores of rupees, 80 millions dollars. Saurabha's drawings revealed magnificent plans for an entire city centered around the huge temple structure. It will be surrounded by satellite temples, a Gurukul campus, a commercial area, walking ghatas, and other facilities. The whole area will be protected from flooding by a latticework of canals. Canals. The main feature is to be a gigantic planetarium within the dome of the main temple. Srila Prabhupada was extremely enthusiastic about the plans. He wants the planetarium to demonstrate the Vedic alternative to modern scientific cosmological propaganda, illustrating the structure of the universe as described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Impressed with Saurabha's work, Prabhupada suggested that the plans be presented to the state government with an application for official acquisition of the land we require. Prabhupada always thinks big. He even suggested that we try to get them to relocate Calcutta's Dandam airport nearby. For Prabhupada, no vision is impossible because it is for Krishna. January 22, 1976. This morning's walk to Srila Prabhupada north of the main road towards the Ganga. He looked over the new building site, which Chaitaguru will supervise. Already some laborers are beginning work on the foundation. Prabhupada instructed Saurabh to make up the site plans for the new residences. Reiterating the point he made to the manufacturer of sand yesterday, Prabhupada explained that it is the sense that everything belongs to God that makes the difference between a karmi and a devotee. Ordinary men are constructing big house to live in, and so are we. The materials such as bricks, wood, cement, and iron are all supplied by God, but those who do it for their own benefit are simply eating their sinful activities. Our construction, however, is for Krishna's purpose. It is not for our own use. As he strode down the road, Prabhupada noted storm clouds forming in the distance. He told us that rain at this time of year is good for the food grains. He quoted a verse from a book called Kannada Bachan, यदि यदि वर्ष्य माघेर शेष धन्य राजार पुण्यति. This is the month of Magh. So at the end of Magh, if there is a little rain, then it is to be to be understood that the king of that country is very pious and blessed. This time a little rain is required. On the way back to the temple for the morning program, Prabhupada saw that several men were standing around an almost mature wheat crop. They were banging empty tins in an effort to drive away the birds. Let, let, lest they eat the entire crop. Prabhupada disagreed with their strategy. He said that every living being has the right to eat. So the solution is simply to grow more. Then there will be enough to go around. This is the Vedic conception. Prabhupada's ability to relate even the most seemingly ordinary event to Shastra always amazes everyone. Tamal Krishna expressed his appreciation of the scientific nature of the Vedas, and Prabhupada agreed. Therefore, we say, perfect Shruti Pranamam. Pranamam. Pranamam.
Okay, Prabhuji, next one. Pratyay. Prabhu. Okay.
Who's next?
Hare Krishna Babu. Satsubha Bhura Maharaja sent a lengthy zonal report for December and the early part of this month. His library party is doing especially well. Many professors are taking orders for their own personal libraries, libraries and
Libraries.
libraries, and teachers are placing orders for the abri what's it?
Abridged
Ab-
paperback.
abridged paperback Bhagavad Gita for use in their courses. Altogether, the party has sold over 700 standing orders and is still going strong. As well as this, there are many important book reviews coming in as a result of the party's efforts. And Satsva Rupa Maharaja himself is very actively preaching. He has at least one college engagement every day until the end of February, and on some days as many as five. He reported increased book distribution in several temples under his direction, notably uh,
Gainesville,
Gainesville,
Miami, and Houston.
Miami, and Houston. The Denver temple had previously been trying to develop a jewelry business with the hope of making large profits, but Prabhupada has recently written telling them that book distribution should be our only business because other types of business will simply create a bad atmosphere. Kurukshetra, the president has closed down the business and is taking his main out on book distribution. Kurukshetra admitted that doing business was putting him in mundane consciousness and the promises of huge amounts of profit coming to the temple never actually came about. Satsvarupa summed the situation up perfectly. The business world is such maya that is entangles one with hopes of uh, tremendous profits that are never finally realized. Prabhupada was happy to hear his thorough report, and he replied, emphasizing the book distribution, even the proposal to open a new temple in Houston in secondary. He said, book distribution is our first business. Srila Prabhupada feels that he work of the library party is most important, as also is the college preaching. So Prabhupada encouraged him go on vigorously expanding this preaching. You are proceeding in the right way. Jayatirtha's November report for the West Coast zone also arrived. His was the top zone for book distribution for that month, remaining uh, $116,000 to the BBT and a new record. However, he admitted that Tamal Krishna Maharaja's RDTSKP topped them by $4,000. Yet he expressed his confidence that December would be a different story. They planned to hand in $200,000 and were aiming for a yearly total of $750,000 to the book fund. His letter also included a section describing some newly formed devotee businesses, but he had a different angle of vision than Kurukshetra. He pointed out that all businesses affairs are conducted outside the temple precincts,
Precincts, temple
so
area.
so as not to affect the spiritual atmosphere, and that no temple president is allowed to become directly involved. He felt it important that the temple presidents con- con- concentrate
Yes.
okay, concentrate slowly on spreading
So solidly. Only concentrate on spreading Krishna consciousness.
Krishna consciousness.
Okay, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
we are. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Neha.
Yes,
as
Prabhuji, we are
always.
out of time.
I
It's
understand that. Time
okay.
to go. Thank you. I just want to point out, like here it says Tamal Krishna Maharaj, RD TSKP. This is Radha Damodar, RD. TSKP means Traveling Sankirtan Party, because we also used to have Mayapur TSKP. From Mayapur, we go to America, we collect a lot of money, and then we send to Radha Madhava. There was a part of devotees, Mayapur, me, myself included, and some 3, 4 devotees. And we used to travel around America. We collect money, different ways. We send it to Mayapur for different expenses. The first set of clothes, we pay for with that money for Radha Madhava. It went for the first set of clothes anyway. Okay, so thank you very much, everybody. We all set to go? Neha?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Thank you so much. I see everybody's